I think we got a lot of people that registered that are going to try to catch the call on a recording, but best to
Okay.
do it in person, man. And I always tell people.
It was a call, registration tonight was abnormally high.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it was very high tonight, like higher than really most calls ever, really. I meant to go back and check, but it might be one of the highest ones.
All right.
So no pressure, baby.
Yeah, right. Well, it's a good topic, man, and definitely
Yeah.
definitely a relevant topic for myself today.
Yeah, dude, for sure. All right, let's see.
Yeah, we should have some new folks on, some guys that I know at the lounge that are going to be.
Awesome. Well, good evening, guys. We're gonna give it probably one more minute, let some folks filter in here. If you do happen to catch the uh, call on a recording, hope you all are doing well and having a great week. And of course, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't challenge you to attend the live calls.
Mm,
That's where the magic happens,
it really
and
is.
for sure. So,
Well, Mike, I
uh,
was just thinking about how we do life together and how the alliance was born. We don't we meet every week, and I
mhm.
was thinking the other day, like we meet pretty much no matter what, man.
Yeah,
Like if we
yep,
got to move our meeting to Wednesday to Sunday or whatever, but we rarely miss meeting together. So I'd like
yep.
to see people kind of mirror that in regularly. Hey, Tuesday, 7 o'clock. That's when I meet my my homies. That's when I meet
Yeah.
my coaches.
I would say in the last 4 years, in terms of missing a week where met up, it's maybe been 5 times, 6 times, maybe in
Yeah,
4 years.
yeah, I agree. It's
You
very
know,
much prioritized.
yeah, yeah. And so, guys, just for you, that's not a knock on anybody or a dig. It's just prioritizing growth and in conversations with people that are going to help you get to new places. It's so easy to get out of the gear of being growth driven and being around the right people. It's not hard to fall out of that routine. So.
Agreed.
Um, so with that, guys, tonight Jesse is gonna talk about a topic that if you're asking in my opinion as an entrepreneur, as a father, as a businessman, as a husband, this is a highly undervalued tool in the toolbox. Is freeing up and in making your mental energy efficient in managing stress and all this other stuff. It's just so critical. In fact, he's already dropped a hint on me before you guys came on about some things that burn up glycogen and stuff in our bodies. And I think he's going to share. It's going to be pretty eye-opening for you tonight. I know I'm looking forward to it. But guys, take this stuff, write this stuff down, apply it because so many of us we are I feel like we are hindered or held down due to our stress levels, and we it almost kind of stops us in our tracks sometimes. And if we can learn how to mitigate or lower stress, um this will be a great call for you. So yes, Aaron, this will be recorded and you will be able to access it later. Yes, we'll send that out. So Jesse, it's all yours, my friend.
Yeah. Awesome. Appreciate it. Guys, I'm going to try not to be, I'm going to respect your time. We should end 7:30 or earlier. And I want to be very granular and tactful in today's subject matter because it's kind of a dry subject. Neuroscience, mental energy. Some of you might be thinking, what the heck is mental energy? Well, let's start with that. We know what physical energy is. Okay. If you just ran a marathon, I'm not going to ask you to like go grab me some milk. Hey, you just got done with that marathon. Can you go do more activity? I get it. Just like if you just spent a bunch of money, you just bought a new house and your dream home, I'm probably not going to go and hit you up for a loan because it's obvious, right? Mental energy isn't so obvious, but it's just as tangible as monetary and it's just as tangible as physical energy. So, what is mental energy? I'm going to share my screen. I got a handy dandy PowerPoint for you guys. This came from a study that I got on PubMed. And basically, this study was cognitive methods for assessing mental energy. And the way they defined mental energy was a positive mood and desire to engage in cognitive work. So if you get home from work and you get a call from a friend and you're like, oh, I don't want to take that call, that means mental energy is low. Or if you get home from work and a problem is put on your plate and you're like, oh my gosh, I just can't think of this. My brain is so foggy. That means your mental energy is low. So we're going to talk about how we can increase our mental energy and more so how we can avoid things that take away from it. So hopefully you guys will resonate with this topic and hopefully you guys have some good questions so we can get those answered from you. So let's talk about the science. What do neuroscientists say? What does science say about multitasking? I know a buddy, he's got like 17 screens. He calls it his war room. And he's like, Jesse, I'm the best multitasker in the world. And that's just not true. Our brains don't have this ability to multitask. So the concern among neuroscientists who study the brain and what happens with us is that it's hampering our ability to do just day-to-day tasks. It's hampering our ability to focus. What is focus? I love this acronym. Follow one course until successful. Focus. How are we supposed to focus and follow one course until we're successful and complete our tasks to their fullest if we're constantly jumping around tasks? So what does the science say about attentiveness? We're going to talk about learning and mindfulness. So attentiveness, if you're doing, say, an auditory or a linguistic task or during an activity. So I'm doing an activity, but I'm also doing this auditory. I'm listening to a podcast, or I'm doing this linguistic task along with it. That's associated with reduced activity in regions of the brain that are designed for you to pay attention, as well as poorer performance. A lot of you are business owners. A lot of you are entrepreneurs. Performance is key. We need energy for performance. And we think that, hey, if I'm multitasking, if I'm doing all these things at once, I'm going to perform better. And that's just not the case. This is kind of scary right here, is several studies show that when you start to multitask, you become addicted to it. You enjoy the different distractions and the different putting out fires and the dopamine rush. And that's where you come up with the confirmation bias that, hey, I'm good at multitasking. Man, I can change the diaper, get back to the business email, listen to a podcast, and tell a joke to my buddy all at the same time. I'm really good at it. Okay. What's really happening is you're starting to just become addicted to that dopamine hit. And they've showed that through studies. So heavy media multitaskers, they actually perform worse. So when they're put to the test, when they're saying, oh, okay, you're good at multitasking, I'm going to put you to the test, they actually perform worse on filtering out relevant information and processing information and focus. So what's the reaction? Like, Michael, what is the reaction that you get when you hear some of this?
Well, I mean, you have to think about how much energy, mental energy it's taking for you to watch a reel on Instagram or a TikTok, or you read about how some other country has initiated war
Mhm.
against another country. And so, guys, and what I call this is, and what this study that Jesse just talked about showing, in my opinion, is you are pulling very, very valuable energy away from yourself, giving it to other resources when you're mindlessly scrolling, or you're talking to Bob and looking at Joe and watching Sam, and like you all of a sudden what I know to be true, because I run a team of tons of people, is nothing starts getting done. And at the
Mhm.
end of the day, you're like, gosh, I'm so busy. I work so hard today, but the needle in your business isn't moving. And I
Right.
think the way I hear this is because you're just kind of like a firefighter, like your hose is just like spraying everywhere, but you're not really putting out any fires.
Dude, that was a
Uh,
perfect way to sum that up. That is exactly it. But you feel like you're doing something. You feel
Yep.
like, oh man, I'm getting it done. I am the man. I am the woman. I'm getting it done when you're really not getting much done at all. But it feels that way. That's a perfect way to put it.
I
So
would say, Jesse, too, real quick to that is what I always tell my team at least is there's only one way to gauge your effort, and is that the bottom line is are the dollars and cents increasing? I mean, if we're in business entrepreneurship, if it's not growing, something's not working. And I think
yeah,
that's at the end of the day, that's the question.
and that's huge. A lot of this in, Michael's saying from a business standpoint, absolutely. But if you're getting home and your spouse is getting the worst of you because you're so fatigued, well, that's not growing. Now our family life isn't growing. Or if you get home and you're like, dude, I just can't even think of getting on the treadmill. If your treadmill is like a glorified coat rack, that is mental energy. You don't even want to think of, oh, what should I even do? Should I walk? Should I run? Should I lift? And that's going to bring us to our next topic. A lot of you have probably read Atomic Habits by James Clear, and he brings to light decision fatigue. And if you take yourself back 40 years ago when we didn't have these, we went to work. My gosh, I know my dad would even talk to my mom during that 9 to 5, 9 to 7, whatever. They didn't even talk. They had corded phones back then. Think of all the decisions that you're forcing your brain to make nowadays. Think about that. And scientists have shown to the point where they won't allow a judge to do two shifts. So that what they've done is they found that judges that would do parole hearings, they would parole a lot less people in the evening shift than the morning shift. Well, why is that? In the morning, they were mentally good. They were alert. They were taking the data down. They were assessing everything, and they were good. In the evening or in the latter part of the day, because they had just done all these decisions and weighed out a bunch of data and a bunch of facts in the afternoon, they couldn't function. They're like, wait, what? What about this? And what they would do is they would deny parole because they didn't want to let someone who maybe because of their own mental fatigue would commit a crime again. They didn't put the mental energy that they needed to do these cases. That's how powerful this is. There are people that are doing more time in prison because of mental or decision fatigue. Now they've caught this and they've rectified it, thank God. But that's how powerful this topic is. So when you think like, oh, Jesse, it's just just my home, it's just my friend, they're sending me a text, oh, it's something funny. Okay, how many decisions you got to now decide? Am I going to watch this now? Probably, because it just distracted you, just pulled you away. How am I going to respond? Should I respond this way? Should I respond right now? Should I go and find another video to maybe respond that way? Now that simple text just took 3 or 4, maybe even more decisions from your brain. Think about that. So how can we conserve? We're going to get into a few action items and move on to our next kind of topic here. How can we conserve brain RAM? How can we basically conserve our decisions so that when we get home and your wife says, hey, honey, what do you want for dinner? You're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to think of this new recipe. And she's like, wow. She's like, wow, where's this energy coming from? Instead of, oh, I don't know. It's just order, DoorDash. How do we conserve brain RAM? One, guys, we're going to talk about this later. We got to get off this device. Pastor Danny did an absolutely amazing sermon on habits to grow our faith. It was part 4. And he had some really, really interesting things to say and some facts that went along with what this phone is doing to us spiritually and also what it's doing to us psychologically and physiologically. So if you don't watch Emmanuel's church services, I would definitely go back. That was on May 5th. And I would go back and check that out, and he'll cover a little bit more the spiritual side of exactly what I'm talking to you about today. So getting off the phone. Establish habits that eliminate the mental effort of making choices. So what could be a habit? For me, I wear like the same socks every single day. I don't have to think about it. It's just very simple. I wear a lot of the same clothes multiple days in a row, so I don't have to think about it. It's just habit. Set up your day by, like I just said, laying out outfits in advance, preparing the next day's food. So really simple things like this that will just take decisions away that then become habits and automatic. Consistency is the absolute key. But if you can eliminate, say, 100 decisions, and that's not that hard to do. If you think of how many decisions you do, you could probably eliminate 1,000 just getting off this thing. How much more positive energy are you going to have? And who's going to get that? Who's going to be the beneficiary of that energy? So that's how we'll kind of increase or save our brain RAM. We can also do task blocking. Now, task blocking sounds like a popular tool. That's why I'm sharing it with you. And task blocking is, we talked about focus, follow one course until successful. Here, you're going to not start another task or not allow distraction to ensue until that task is done. Now, the problem with task blocking is it doesn't do a lot with our decision fatigue, because if you do a task and then you go and do 10,000 other tasks on your device, or that kind of defeats the purpose. But task blocking can definitely help you at least start to structure your day, where you say, hey, look, I'm going to take however long it takes to get these sales calls done. Door is closed, dogs are out, whatever, no distraction, phone's in the other room. I am getting this task of 100 sales phone calls done. Then I will take myself 10, 15 minutes to deal with getting back to whoever, emails or whatnot. So task blocking could be a good way to start in freeing up your brain RAM, brain space. Establishing personal and professional boundaries is huge. We're going to talk about establishing personal boundaries to help you guys fill up your brain, free up your brain RAM as well. Michael, anything that you have? I know that we talked about task blocking and things in our meetings before. Anything that you'd want to add?
Dude, two things. So you talk about, making decisions the night before. When I look back over my 13 years of building my business and putting it to where it's at now, one of my keystone habits that I believe has really helped me in immense ways is my Sunday night goal planning and scheduling for my week.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just Sunday night, dude. I lay it out and I say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. I'm smoking a cigar, I'm hanging out and quiet, I got maybe a little bit of music on, and I'm just making decisions on Sunday so I don't have to make them on Wednesday. And to take that one step further, every night, guys, every night, I pack my gym bag, I put a change of clothes in it, I get my Bible ready, I get my computer charged up. When I wake up in the morning, I slide into my clothes, take my supplements, grab my gym bag, and walk out the door. And it's just like clockwork,
Yeah.
And so this is so true and so underrated, what you're talking about right now, that I wish people understood just how valuable this can be to their lives. It's just good stuff.
Guys, what Michael just beautifully covered is a New York's best-selling book. We did this in the Alliance, a 12-week year, and he talks about, I believe he calls it a strategy or strategic session. And I've watched Michael do his Sunday strategic sessions literally the last, I don't know, every Sunday I've known the guy. And that's how he is so much more productive. It's taking away those decisions because he has that strategic Sunday. That's something that I've adopted from Michael that has helped immensely.
Love it.
Yeah, good. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, now, guys, we're going to get into something that I'm struggling with right now. I actually have a coach who's helping me through this. And so I'm right here alongside with some of you. Some of you may not be struggling with this, but some of you may be. And what that is it's social media or media in general. We're going to kind of hone into the device here. Okay. Danny covers this in depth too in his sermon. That was again May 5th, so you guys can check that out. But Often in our quest for validation and attaboys, we immerse ourselves in social media and or group text. And my coach has kind of opened up the door for this because he's actually not a science or not like a brain science coach. He's not like a life coach. He's actually a physical coach. And he's trying to get the most out of me physically right now. And he knows that he can't do that if mentally I'm fatigued. Okay, so that kind of shows you kind of how powerful, how we supposed to get in shape if we're mentally fatigued. We won't have any physical energy as well. So the two kind of go hand in hand. But 84% of Americans find social media addictive. It 100% is. Now, look, if you're one of the 16% that's not addicted to it in some way, shape, or form, good. Sadly, I would have to say that in some ways I am, because it is affecting my mental state and my mental energy. It's affecting my overall energy. And I don't want that energy to be going into social media or my device. So this is super important. So how do we beat the dopamine? And the reason that we go to social media and the reason why it's addictive is the dopamine. Right away, I can get a ton of attaboys right now with a post. I can probably text any one of you and steal your time away from you with whatever, a picture of a blood orange beer. And you're probably going to affirm it in some way. Oh, cool. Ooh, looks delicious. Yum. Do you see that? Do you see how this works? If I want to reward my brain right now, all I need to do, I can do it while I'm talking to you right now. I can get the dopamine rush right now giving this presentation. Of course, I won't do that. That would be multitasking, which would take away from you guys and take away from my delivery. But that's how powerful. Think of a drug. Dopamine's a drug that you can get anytime, anywhere from this. You think that might have addictive properties to it. Absolutely, it does. And I think as entrepreneurs, as husbands, as wives, as leaders in our community, we've got to face up to this addiction, and we've got to start managing it. So I'm going to share some things, guys. I'm not through these. I'm just starting this journey on myself, with myself. So I'm really, like I said, I'm really working through these things right alongside with you. I'm not 100% like ecstatic and bought in on some of the things that I'm going to show you, but I know that they're right. I know deep down in my core they're right. So
Jesse,
here's
I share this with you, by the way. You and I have talked about this, but you're not alone in this. I am right next to you on this very topic, and I think a lot of people right now might be. I think we're getting into a time where people are realizing what you're about to say. Just, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, no. Guys, just think of energy as energy, and low mental energy is going to be low physical energy, and who's going to get the best of you. And that this is the conversation. This almost comes verbatim from a coaching session that I had with this guy. And he says, you want to eliminate or drastically reduce electronic sharing, electronic communication. And I kind of was like, well, wait a minute. That's kind of the point of this, is that I can share. I read something good, I can share that. Or I'm having a good time, I can share that. Isn't that a good thing? I have joyful things going on. I want to share that. I want to share that with the people that I love. I want to share it with the people who care about me and the people I care about. It doesn't quite work that way. So he said, well, let's go through some questions. Why? Why are you texting this? Well, like I just said, I want to share. Okay, but you want to share, you not fulfilled just by your right here with the people you're with? Why don't you share this with the person that's sitting across from you instead of taking the time away from them and then resharing it to someone else? Okay, well, all right, okay, a decent question. Then he said, is this worth interrupting someone? This is kind of the one that got me. You didn't quite get me. I like to share joy. I like to share positive stuff. Is it worth interrupting someone? See, back in the day, when I would call my dad at work, it was a big deal. Oh, I'd get the switchboard and he would come running son, are you okay? I mean, it was a big deal. There was no just getting my dad's attention at the whim. You had to call him. They had to go get him. So is it worth interrupting someone? We don't sometimes think, or I don't think, well, who's on the other line right now? What are they doing? That was powerful for me. Wow, I'm interrupting them. I'm asking them for their time when I send this message. If I were to go to would I go to their work? Because that's probably where they're at right now. Would I go to their work, knock on their work door, and be like, "Hey, I want to share this with you. I got a blood orange. Check it out." You know, of course I wouldn't. But I have no trouble invading their space via text. Third, can it be discussed or shared in person? Guys, we're a society that we communicate at an all-time high. I can Facebook you, I can Instagram you, I can TikTok you, I can text you, I can email you. But what about this? What about getting together? What about me sharing, hey, I just got back from this vacation. I can't wait to share these things with you. Or, hey, man, I had a rough day. Can we share? What happened to good old-fashioned like sharing in organicness, connecting, not communicating? All this does is it's a communication device. It's not a connecting device. D is kind of very similar to B. Is it important enough right now to ask for someone's time? Think about that. The next text you send, is this important enough right now to ask for this person's time? And then the big one, because here was my answer to this guy when he was kind of rolling this out. Because he was saying, well, whenever you share time and energy with someone else through a text, you're taking it from the person in front of you. And I'm like, oh, no. When we're on date night and I want to text the guys, and normally it's like, I don't know, a rare bourbon, something like that, you know. I wait till she goes to the bathroom. And he goes, well, how many times have they responded? And now you're going back and forth. And she comes back from the bathroom. She's like, who are you talking to? Oh, it's the guys. I just sent him a picture of our, here, let's send him a picture of us. Whether I want to admit it or not, that's time away from her, and she knows it. She knows it. Even if it's in the bathroom, she's coming back. I'm still distracted. I'm still changing mindset from, hey, date, attention to my wife, to, hey, I want to take this attention off. This is powerful. Again, I'm still working through this. And I'm definitely not perfect. Some of you all know. Some of you on this call, and you know, like, yeah, Jesse, you got to keep working on this. I get a lot of messages from you. So the bottom line is that the takeaway here, guys, is can you trade electronic communication for small groups, in-person events, coffee meetups, whatever it looks like to you guys? Can you trade electronic communication for that? You know, I know what I've started doing is I just started taking notes in my phone, like, oh, I want to share this, I want to share that. I don't have to share things as necessarily in real time. And it's getting me in front of more people. So maybe this can help you guys just get organic with folks. Again, this is something I'm working towards. We're going to move on to nutrition. Michael, anything that you would have to add on this point?
No, dude, it's something I've really never thought about. So as you're sitting here talking about it, I'm thinking about it, you know, because I mean, I just sent you today, I sent you like I hit a PR on my deadlift.
Yes.
You know, and I'm
Yes.
sitting here and I'm like, man, I'm pumped up, and you know, I want to, and I get it. You know, it's there's so much energy that we're like, if I save that for when we meet in person, I just feel like it would be so much more fun.
You know, yes. And Mike, I'm not validating this, but I'll push back a little bit. I think something like monumental stuff, like you just lifted the most weight you've ever lifted in your life. You know what I mean? It's not like, hey, here's a photo of, I don't know, my knee, and I've seen like 50 photos. You know what I'm saying? That's to me, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good example, but you know,
Yeah.
that's kind of monumental. But no, I
Mhm.
agree. That's definitely an in-person, and I think we'll celebrate that in person for sure.
Yeah.
But
No, it's
yeah,
good.
so I don't want the listeners to think like, oh, get off your phone, quit texting Bible verses, quit texting this, and it's bad, it's eating your brain. But I would encourage you to just tap into what we're talking about here and ask these questions.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
All right, we're going to move into we're going to finish this up, take this home with some nutritional things that we can do to increase our brain capacity, increase our focus. And we already talked about dopamine. We've talked about, we didn't talk about norepinephrine. Okay, that's kind of a excitatory hormone, so energy and sympathetic nervous system. But we're going to focus in on serotonin. That regulates appetite, your social rank, well-being, and sleep. So if you come home 6, 7 o'clock and you're starving hungry, probably your serotonin is a little bit out of whack. Okay. We already know your dopamine's probably burnt out. Norepinephrine could be burnt out if we're doing a lot of this multitasking stuff we already talked about, but serotonin. So how can we fix our serotonin? Well, we got to go to the source. Some of you are thinking the source, pituitary gland, right? The brain. No, our serotonin is manufactured in our gut, 80% of it in our, what they call our microbiome. Okay. So if we can fix our gut health or drastically improve our gut health, brain fog starts to go away, energy starts to come up. And especially if you culminate and block that in with everything else we talked about, guys, this is the real deal. I'm in an incredible stressful time right now. Michael is too, not necessarily negative, positive, just had a baby. Come on. That's awesome. You know, Michael, I'm not gonna get into numbers because we were talking before the call, but they're doing amazing things at BAM. I'll just let you know that. Amazing, positive stuff, but it's mentally fatiguing. That's where these final points come into play. Okay, so we can still function as husbands while we're getting drained at our workplace, while we're getting drained in our physical goals. We're running that 5K or that mini marathon or whatever it might be. And this is how we're going to do it. We're going to manufacture more serotonin. The quickest way, and guys, I have an entire presentation that we do just on this subject. So this is kind of the eggshell. This is like the nutshell, key kind of takeaways, but this is a pretty vast and broad topic. Pre and probiotics. Prebiotics are going to be like fermented foods you see here on the list. Or you could just simply think as dietary fiber. If you're getting about 10 grams of dietary fiber per 1,000 calories that you're eating, you're setting the soil up for a pretty healthy gut health. And healthy gut health means more serotonin production. So that means better sleep, more energy, better appetite control. Your probiotic foods, I just like to say Greek yogurt. I'm not a big sauerkraut. I don't even know what kefir is. I know what pickles are, kimchi, tempeh. I just take a supplement. That's why I put the supplement down there. I just take a probiotic supplement and I love me some fat-free Greek yogurt. Make all kinds of stuff from that. But if you guys, this is a big takeaway. If you guys just start increasing your fiber and eating probiotic foods, journal your energy for 3-4 days, and guys, you're going to be really, really, really happy with what you see. So let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up, see if we have any questions, and give you guys your takeaway. We want to avoid distracted thinking. Get rid of the multitasking. Start to task block. Do not learn or read in a distracted environment. Don't think that you can like listen to a podcast and also read and take notes and all these things at once. Live with empowered focus, choosing to let in certain thoughts. Okay, so your texts, what you're looking at social media. Complete one task at a time. So we talked about that. Define or reduce, or I'm sorry, eliminate or reduce group chats, or define them. Or define them. That's the next step that I'm going to do in my group chats, because I've got a fitness chat. Maybe the fitness chat, we can do like a Friday check-in instead of an hourly, thing. So a lot of times helping define your chats will help. And then prioritizing gut-friendly foods such as pre and probiotic rich foods. Just think dietary fiber and yogurt. So team, those are our key takeaways. I will try to remember to post this in the group. So if you guys, because I know I talked a little bit fast, you guys can have this PowerPoint. And yeah, do we have any questions?
Jesse, I want to share something with everyone real quick. Can you give me the ability to share my screen?
Yeah.
To your point, real quick, guys, before you get off, hear me out on this just for a second. Everything Jesse just talked about, I want to just put something into perspective for you that when you start out with this idea, I shared this with my team the other day. Okay. And this is a chart of effort, the intensity of the effort over time, and the results are on the right. And real quick, well, I just want to share this with you because whenever you start anything, so like, okay, here's what Jesse's talked about today. We don't know much about what Jesse just talked about because we just learned it, right? So in the beginning, our effort towards these types of things has to be really high. We've got to really take it seriously on protecting our mental energy, our mental health, our gut health. So for the next few weeks, we are probably going to put a lot of time and focus on this. And we're not going to see the results very quickly. Now, the time scale here is years. This is not a year's results type of thing. As Jesse just alluded to, you could journal 4 or 5 days and start noticing differences. But just hear me out. Hear me out on the cross section of when the effort decreases and the results increase right here where it crosses. I just want to encourage you that this type of stuff, in my opinion, as he's talking, I'm like, gosh, this actually becomes pretty easy to do once you master limiting distractions, master stopping the multitasking, master keeping your gut health high. And think about what starts to happen is now it's second nature to you and it's so easy that you're going to start seeing the things in your life, the results skyrocket and the effort to do it plummet. And I love this analogy in anything, especially, but especially this because this is undervalued stuff.
Mm.
Some of my biggest contributors to my personal success is blocking out the distractions and staying laser focused on my craft. That I mean, I'm telling you right now, guys, if you can learn this, your needle will move in your business, in your life, in your marriage. Blocking out distractions is so critical. So I just wanted to share that because as he was talking at the end, I'm like, okay, they got to see this because this just ties to it might be tough to figure it out, but once you figure this out, it's going to be so easy to do it and your results are going to go up so much that I think it's going to be fun for you. So Jesse, this was a great talk, dude.
Awesome. Michael, this
Love it.
graphic right here is a call in itself.
Yeah.
And I think you're seeing this right now with fitness. But guys, there's a saying that you're going to be drastically overworked and underpaid in whatever realm. If it's fitness, you're going to be drastically overworking, feeling underpaid, undervalued for a season so that you can be overpaid and overvalued for a lifetime. And that's exactly what that graph is saying.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, Jesse, great stuff. Guys, anything else before we wrap up? Any questions or anything before we hop off here? Would love to see you guys post this on your socials, tag us, let folks know you were on the Alliance call tonight, and tell them Jesse dropped some life-changing stuff for you. This is good stuff, man. So thank you, Jesse.
Awesome. All right, guys. Good night. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.